Later that evening, a sign emerged above my head, text black on bright yellow laminated construction paper, borrowed from a local elementary school. I groggily asked the nurse what the letters stood for. She was younger than the day nurse, likely fresh out of nursing school and not yet able to secure the diurnal shifts reserved for those with more seniority. A U-shaped tube hung around her shoulders, like a wide horseshoe had landed on her neck, spun around, and ended up facing me. From each of its ends emanated a red glow, angry in color, soft in hue. I felt like a chicken being kept warm for customers to come. But I liked this nurse. She moved deliberately, quietly. She politely placed her items on the cart with minimal clinking. Her pen was capped, rather than embedded, which spared me the nuisance of pensive and absent-minded clicks as the ink sword would emerge and be retracted into its sheath. She was engaged with the monitor, taking its dictation onto the pad of her left forearm. "Oh, I wasn't trying to wake you," she whispered, lightly touching my shoulder with her left hand, rendering her writing surface unusable for a second. "1 second," she added, and resumed her original pose, left hand now facing upwards and in front of her, like a waitress holding some invisible platter. Scribble, scribble. Look up. Look down. Scribble. Quick glance up. Eyes only this time. Scribble, scribble. She turned back towards me, her conversation with the monitor concluded. "Now," she said, casting a gentle smile down at me. The darkness of her features defied the direction of ordinary shadows. They seemed to be turned on their head as the light came from beneath her chin. It was a camping night glow, and she was telling scary stories from above a red flashlight. "What was it you asked me?" "Ah, yes." I coughed the sleep from my throat, then reflexively matched the lowered volume of her voice and rasped, "What's this announcing to people about me?" I snaked my arms from beneath her white sheet burrow and had the right one lead my hand to point towards a four-noted sign. N.P.O. period. I paused. I continued to explain. I read it upside down a couple of times, then flipped it in my head. With both my hands now free, I was able to illustrate my mental gymnastics. Index fingers and thumbs flipped the card over with 2 hands, then my right index wrote the 3 shadowed letters on the palm of my left. My thumb returned to puck my palm with the 2 dots in between. I looked up at her. She held a listening gaze. Then, forgetting I had not finished my aerial sentence, I recruited my thumb back to stamp the period at the end. She understood. "Yeah, that means you can't eat until you're done tomorrow." My stomach, although sated by the evening's repast, and currently still in the process of masticating it with its muscular teeth, groaned in protest. "What? Who put it there?" "The doctors ordered it," she said, avoiding my question. I nodded. I knew it wasn't the doctors. I knew which one. About to mentally stow the placard upon which I had written my question, I realized I had one more question. "Do these letters mean anything?" She was already walking towards the door when I asked, my one question toll taken, answer paid, and the gate lifted for her to leave. She turned her head and left her torso in its original exiting direction. Looking at her now, she seemed to have aged much longer than the time it took for her to walk to the door's frame. "It means no breakfast or food until you're done tomorrow. Get some rest." And with that, her red head and shoulders floated into the dimly lit hallway, then disappeared with a barely audible click. Non per os. It was an incantation, a spell the intern had cast upon me with a flick of that ever-pointing finger of his. To it, the red jello they had just brought in for breakfast was scooped alongside the tray beneath it and bobbled its way out of my room, surely to some other patient not cursed in this manner. My stomach called up at me for a conversation about this. I refused to pick up the sheets and respond. I went back to sleep.